In this tutorial I'm going to look at expanding the range of strategies you have available to you when solid modelling. I also want to show you how to add solid modelled objects onto other solid modelled objects so that you can create far more complex shapes. I'm going to start very quickly by just creating a new layer, nothing new here, and we're going to call this setup as usual, give it a colour, make it current, and then I'm going to start by just drawing some lines to create a basic shape. And again, I've got my big snaps on. I'm just going to make this, I don't know, 500 long, 500 down, make it 700 this way, and then just back to the beginning with my oblique snap on. Okay, there's my line. I'm just going to use the join command to join that up, so it creates a polyline, and then I'm going to extrude this. .500. And if we go into my 3D view, we will be able to see that we've got my shape in 3 dimensions. Last tutorial I showed you very quick ways of being able to draw something on top at a certain position. I'll just recap on that very quickly. So I'm going to go back into my home view, I'm going to set up a new layer, and this new layer, we'll just call it setup 1. I'll make it something fairly foul, we'll make it yellow in this case, click the tick, that now becomes my current layer. I'm just going to draw a line from here to here, and also from here to here, so the intersection of these two lines is roughly the middle of that shape. What I'm going to do is draw a line from the intersection there and just move it out like that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the offset command again to make this line move in that direction, so it's slightly off centre, but I want to do it by measured amount just to show you that you can use the offset command. So I've now got a point here which is 100 millimeters down from this one, because I made my offset 100 from the middle there. So from this it's very easy for me to set up another drawing if I want. So in this case I'm going to set up a small square on top of here. I'm just going to do that by drawing a line from this point here, so I know it's flush there. I'm going to make this line 50 this way, because I want to set this about the middle of this point, so the square sits in the middle of this, and the square is going to be 100. So if I now bring this up 50, and then I just use my offset command again, but this time round, instead of setting the offset command to 100, I'm going to set the offset command to 50. I can now offset this that way, this that way, that can then go that way, and that can then go that way. And I've now got the beginnings of my square. Create a new layer, we'll call this new layer square, give that a new colour, make it current, get rid of my layer dialog box, and now I can use my polyline command. I'm just going to do a polyline from there to here to there, and then back to here, and again I'm going to use my close command just to close that. I can now extrude this, and you'll notice in this case it's grabbing the wrong part. So this is a moment where going into my layer dialog box and freezing my setup layer would be quite useful, because I can now extrude far more easily this shape here. It's got it. I'm just going to extrude this up 200 millimeters, and I could keep adding shapes on like this any way I like. So I can go back into my home view, I can bring my setup layer back on, line from here to here, and then set my circle up from the middle of this. If I want to, I can change my circle to a diameter, or I can make it just up to the edge there. And obviously with a circle, if I extrude it, it automatically becomes solid. And we'll just extrude this up 100 mil. There we are. So it's all very easy to sit down and draw objects on top of other objects using setup lines to make sure they fit perfectly. But what if I don't want to do it like that? What if I want to have an object coming out the side here? Well, AutoCAD will allow you to do that, but you'll find if you try and draw an object on here, so I could do my usual trick and just say setup's on. Let's draw a line from here to there, and I'll now draw a line from the middle. My problem here, then I can draw going up like that. So if I make this go up 50, if I draw another line from here, let's go down 50, and if I then offset that, you'll find that you get an error message saying it can't offset the object. That's because it doesn't understand the object in the plane it's at, because it's still working really, although it's showing you an isometric, it's working in a top-down view. But what we can do is change the view and draw in that view. So in this case, if I go to View and then go to my front view, I can now see this in my front view, and you'll notice that AutoCAD changes the coordinates. X is now along there and Y is now up here. So it's turned the front view into what is my drawing plane. It's my main plane for drawing. So I can draw whatever I like here, and so if I just delete this out, and we start by drawing again. So if I now draw a line from the middle of here, bring that up 50, make sure I've got my radial lock on correctly, 50. If I now offset that by 50, that will do. What I've done here is I've removed or frozen the initial layer, because unfortunately AutoCAD was trying to select this layer rather than my setup layer. So I've just removed that so that I can now use my offset command correctly. So I can offset that way, and then that way. And if I now go into a new layer, just create a new layer, call this square 2, give that a colour, make it current, get rid of that. I can now use my polyline command just to draw over the top, and then close that off. Get rid of this layer so I can't see it, and then if I just use my extrude command, I can now extrude this out in the direction I want to go. So if I just extrude this and make this 400mm, and then if I bring all my other layers back on, so back into my home view, and then go back in and turn these layers on, and go back to my view command into Southwest ISO, you can now see I've drawn it correctly. Notice that the grid has now changed. It's the wrong way around. Now, whenever you alter a view and do some drawing in that view and then swap back to another view, it's a really good idea to do the following, and that is type in a command at the bottom called UCS. It stands for User Coordinate System, and what this does is it makes AutoCAD flip the X, Y and Z axis to sit in the plane you're drawing at. So basically you'll notice at the moment Z is coming out into the classroom, if you like, and that is the wrong direction. Z should be facing up. So if we tried to do any drawing, it would get very confusing because Z would be the wrong axis. So just going to do UCS, and it will say, okay, you've got a number of objects, a number of possibilities here. We're just going to click on World, and if you click on World, the UCS goes back to normal. 9 times out of 10, if you've got problems drawing something, it'll be because your user coordinate system is set in a previous view. So there we go, there's objects drawn and sat in different planes, and I can carry on doing this to my heart's content. So if I wanted to draw something on this plane here, it's simple enough to say that, okay, that actually is my right hand view, so I'll flip to my right hand view and I could then draw on there, and this enables you to draw quite complicated shapes on all planes of the object. So to recap, we've looked at altering the views around, and you can do this by here, by the way. If you want to click on left hand view, you can do there, and if you click onto your top corner, it will bring you up to isometric, and then you click on your back view. So we've looked at altering our views to enable us to draw shapes on different planes. We've looked at using setup lines to help draw things in particular points so that we know they're correct. And we've also looked very importantly at the UCS, the user coordinate system, so that you can change the user coordinates to suit your drawing, but remember to always change them back again.